Hello again, you extraordinary subscribers. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. So, as I mentioned in last week's video, I was traveling last week. Traveling here, traveling there, doing no doubt important things for the business. And whenever possible, I prefer to drive places. I'm a fairly solitary individual, and I do not mind 12, 14 hours alone in a car. When I can afford, time-wise, to do that in the course of a week of work, is another question. So last week I ended up flying various places, was in 3 airports last week. My first time flying, by the way, since COVID. I do not like flying. I'm not scared of flying. I simply don't like it for the opposite reasons of driving in a car, which is that I'm, surrounded by like 300 people who I really want nothing to do with, and I prefer to avoid social interaction, particularly in the post-COVID era where it seems like there's a new video that surfaces every week of somebody acting like a jackass on a plane, stopping the flight from happening because they're either drunk or belligerent or have to lecture everyone about freedom or something. Anyway, point being, I was not looking forward to it. I am the type of person who, by the way, when you see me in an airport, and I know no one knows what I look like, but when you see me in an airport, I am wearing things in my ears. I have things in my ears meant to suggest to the outside world, please God, don't let anyone talk to me. And most people, I feel like, are aware of, when you see people with things in their ears, they're probably too busy, or maybe they are one of these people who really just prefer, there's not even listening to anything. They just don't want you to talk to them. Anyway, so I like to suggest to the outside world that I am so engaged with my music or my podcast that I should not be bothered. Well, anyway, I ran into an individual at one airport who did not pick up on these subtle social cues. They were a chatty type, and I am, being as I do not want to chat with anyone, I am a magnet for chatty types. Anyway, tap, tap, tap. Oh, God. Yeah? Do you want to read this magazine? What? No, thank you. No, I'm good. I don't want to read the magazine. Things back in my ears. Like literally 30 seconds later. Tap, tap, tap. Oh my God. What do you think the reason is for the delays? I don't know. Why don't you go ask the people who work for the airline who are literally 20 feet away? Why don't you go talk to them? Anyway, aside from that, it's a fine trip, guys. All the properties that are being purchased on the website, and quite honestly, it's a bit of a slow month, but all the properties being purchased on the website right now are closing through title and escrow, so a special thanks will yet be tabled again for another 7 days. We'll try it again next week. Until such time, guys, let's get to this week's new properties. Oh, people, get your credit cards out and your checkbooks ready. This is a good one we got this week, guys. You're gonna like this one. So, we're back in Park County this week. No antelope this time, for what will probably be the last property, for at least a little while, in this ideally located region of Colorado. More specifically, this time we've got what we will refer to as a forested mountain retreat. This one is located in the Saddle Mountain Ranch community. People, let me say that again. The Saddle Mountain Ranch community. I swear to God, you hear that and you just want to go build a log cabin. So let's put it up on the map. Here we go. So, sitting just south of the 24, in the midst of all this green stuff that makes up the Pike San Isabel National Forest, roughly about 30 minutes outside Lake George and Florissant, and situated in the shadows of the mountain for which it is named, is the Saddle Mountain Ranch community. This community consists of about 3 residential subdivisions, and today's property is located here in Saddle Mountain Heights. So, the subject property is a 1.35-acre corner lot located where McIntyre meets Elk Drive. These 2 roads are county maintained, but as we like to caution, it's Colorado, it's in the middle of a forested mountain region, and even in good weather, you probably want to tool around out here in a larger truck or off-road capable vehicle. The property has power at the lot line running here along McIntyre, so of course it should be more affordable to get whatever you decide to park or build on the land connected to the grid. In addition, the land does have some fencing along the northeast border, which you share with the neighboring home site, and markers designating where one parcel ends and the next parcel begins are along the other corners. Point being, guys, no need for an expensive survey because the land has already been staked. Furthermore, another good thing about this property is that while there is no HOA out here and no annual dues associated with the land, there is a water company which, and this one's a little difficult to describe, guys, so bear with me on this, does not install a well or provide direct water service to its resident members, but
does have water rights for the region and thus has a water augmentation plan already in place with the Colorado Department of Water Resources. In short, membership in this organization makes it easier to get a well drilled on the property because you need a water augmentation plan before the state will okay it. And in case that was super confusing and you'd like to learn more, they have a website. Fortunately, they have a website, and fortunately, we have linked it here on the listing page. Now, of course, like all the listings that we've been debuting out here, the property itself is one thing, but it's what surrounds this area that makes so much of the land out here, especially this one, ideal for outdoor lovers. So, if you go back to the map, you will see that, like the other properties we've been listing, this one sits in close proximity of the Antero Reservoir and Spinning Mountain State Parks, but more specifically, it is closest to the 11 Mile State Park, which, of course, will provide hours and hours of what we will call water-based recreation, not to mention a great spot for camping and hiking and picnics. Speaking of which, as noted earlier, we're very close to the entrance to the Pike San Isabel National Forest as well, which of course means plenty of opportunities for shooting at things that don't shoot back. And as we mentioned in previous videos, Breckenridge is none too far away from this area. From this property, about a 2-hour drive, and Colorado Springs only a little over an hour away. Now, speaking of nearby towns, if we go back to the map here, you will see the subject property is located only about 40 minutes west of Cripple Creek. Cripple Creek, voted the town in Colorado most likely to have its name changed in the next 10 years. Whatever the case, our photographer was out there and took some photos, and it looks like a very charming kind of Old West mining town. They've kind of fixed it up to harken back to the days. Look at that. Of course, Cripple Creek doesn't have any of the big box stores beyond an Ace Hardware, but what it lacks in retail, it seems to make up in charm, with a lot of nice restaurants and bars, and who knows, might be a cool place to kind of hang out on the weekends. In addition, guys, it is also home to Newmont Mining, the largest employer in the region. So if you get a job with Newmont, you're moving out here and you want a quiet spot you can build a small cabin or home site on, not too far from work, this may be one worth checking out. With all that said, we will be back next week in New Mexico once again with some new small dollar properties. Basically, guys, I do 3 weeks of stuff that's over 10K, and I start getting emails of, when are you going to have more of the properties I can actually afford? So, for all of those charming people, next week is your week. Tune in then to learn more. Until such a time, have a great 7 days, everyone, and we will see you back here in next week's video.